What's up, everyone? So we're on dad strength cycle, week 2, day 3. So this day 3 is typically our higher intensity day. So starting with a little bit of some core prep here, some single leg alternating high planks or low planks rather. So really just kind of holding it down there for 10 seconds each side, then kind of shimmying over to a side plank, really kind of making sure you're keeping that bottom glute engaged while I'm rotating through to get a little bit of some oblique work as well. This is honestly, it's a really good way to get kind of the core and the lower body going. I'll do this with patients and some athletes sometimes, but I just really, as long as they don't have anything going on their shoulder, that can be a little, this can be a little tough on the shoulder if you do have something going on. So next, kind of moving to some high plank work, kind of get into that overhead position more than anything, just, or a bear pike into an overhead position, getting that shoulder blade work in, scapular, upper rotation, moving into a little bit of like a bear and a kick through, kind of stumble there. You can see this is really the hardest part of this is really just coordination more than anything. So that's really kind of what we're moving through here. I like doing just a lot of some ground-based stuff to get warmed up. Moving to some kettlebell goblet stuff. So again, you've seen me do a lot of this before, but grab a 53-pound kettlebell, kind of getting down the bottom there, moving side to side since we do some Zercher squats today, seeing what feels good, what doesn't. And then after that, we'll kind of work through some reps here. So probably work through generally, I don't remember how many I did here, but I'll work through about 10 or so, give or take. And then after that, we'll move on to some double sumo kettlebell deadlifts. I got some heavy cleans off the floor today, so just making sure posterior chain is prepped more than anything. Making sure keeping relatively vertical shin. There's going to be a little bit of an angle, but you want to try to keep as much of a vertical shin as possible and really get that hinge through the hips, so you're getting through that glute and that hamstring more than anything. So I'll do about 10 there and then really kind of start probably getting into my barbell warm-up. So this is kind of just a general empty bar warm-up. We'll do some pulls, kind of getting those shoulder blades engaged up to that position here. And then after pulls, working to some pull and a turnover. No lower body movement here, just really getting good feel of keeping the bar close to the body. Work into some kind of RDL into a pull, essentially. So not fully standing up, just working on getting that bar slid up into the hip crease. And then after that, we'll go with the turnover. So we'll go into that hinge, pull nice and slow, get a good feel for it into the turnover. That's kind of the start of this. And then I'll do a couple good mornings here, just kind of, again, just another way to get the low back and the posterior chain prep more than anything. Making sure I'm getting a lot of glute and hamstring here. A lot of times at good mornings, we see people do a ton of low back. It's going to be a good way to strengthen the low back, but really just statically you want the low back to be strengthened. You don't really want the low back to be going through a big excursion of movement. That's just my personal belief. I don't think people need to be going through a bunch of lumbar flexion or extension in this drill. If doing it correctly, you should be able to get a good amount through that posterior chain. And now we'll kind of work into some high power cleans here more than anything, then into some mid-hang, nice and slow, getting a feel for it, and then getting under more than anything. So that's really just, again, just another way that I kind of like to gradually get my arms more and more underneath, get a good feel for it, and then make sure we're good. So this is I think this is my first set here, one of my warm-up sets. We had just some heavier singles today at our working weights, so kind of just did a little bit of a complex here. And then, so now we're on our first kind of working set of our singles. I think I did 4 singles here. This is at 185, just making sure it's just moving fast more than anything. Moved up to about 205, so got another set there, and I'm pretty sure I did just 3 singles at 205 from a hang power clean. I'll be honest with you, lowering it down, I can't really let the weights just drop and slam, so it does tax the posterior chain a little bit. But yeah, so that's really kind of where we're at there. So now I move on to some Zerchers. So this is about 185 on the bar. Anyone that has done some kind of Zerchers, I'm sorry, we did 3s for the Zerchers today. That was mainly just because I never really pushed singles on the Zercher, so still just getting a heavy set of 3. Anyone that can tell you if you've done some heavy Zerchers before, it's a totally different stimulus when you come out of that rack. And now we're kind of supersetting that with some double leg GHD holds more than anything. Got a 35-pound plate here, so since it's double leg, kind of up the weight a little bit here. And we're just probably holding for about 20, maybe 30 seconds more than anything, making sure it's really the glutes that are holding up more than anything here. Then we'll move back into our Zercher. So again, we're at 185 here. And again, like you can tell right away, coming out of that bar, you're kind of like, oh, this is not easy more than anything. So really liking it, kind of making sure not just bouncing out of the hold, getting some good control down there. I double wrap a towel and a sweater there just to protect the elbows, to be honest with you. It honestly feels a lot better than just a single towel or whatnot. Got the re-rack. And then we're finishing with a little bit of some core work here. So there's some hangs into some leg raise, some hang with a leg raise more than anything. I could probably get them up a little bit higher. I start to as I kind of get going along here. But really just like doing just some core as a finisher here after a high day.